Vicky, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here today in Calgary. We're gathered on the traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I also want to recognize the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. Now, in the last election that took place just months ago, Danielle Smith promised Albertans that any pension plan was not part of her campaign. But within weeks of being elected, she directed her finance minister to revive the issue. And now just last week, she took the first steps to gambling with Albertans' pensions by releasing a report to make her case. That report based on fabrications. Now she is running ads using our money to promote the misleading report and using made-up numbers to try and gamble with Albertans' retirement, putting all of our retirement savings at risk, and our parents and our grandparents. Simply put, Danielle Smith is using your money to lie to you in order to gamble with more of your money. Danielle Smith has launched a so-called consultation that could only be called a sham in the most generous of terms. This so-called consultation using government resources does not even ask if Albertans want to exit the Canada Pension Plan. Now imagine how frightened the UCP must be of the answer they will get to that question if they refuse to even ask it in the first place. Now instead, every question is about how Albertans want to design an Alberta pension plan. In other words, it's just asking Albertans what color of unicorn they would like. And the fact that there is going to be unicorns is taken as a given by this government. Now the consultation, like the report, is not on the level at all. It is not designed to accurately capture the views of Albertans. It's designed to give Danielle Smith and her UCP MLAs some cover. So let's be clear. Danielle Smith is the person who mused about using the pension fund in order to hire thousands of tax collectors and to bankroll a provincial police service. She said that during her campaign to become UCP leader just a little over a year ago. But on an important issue, and where Albertans can't rely on the government to be honest, transparent, or even fair with the basic facts, Albertans need to have their voices heard. And so that is why today I'm announcing that the official opposition is launching a public consultation. That'll be a real public consultation that starts with a real survey. It will be hosted at albertasfuture.ca. That is just a start. We're also looking at other ways to engage with the public. I know over the last 72 hours or so, my email inbox in my own constituency has been inundated. I can only assume that is the case for UCP MLAs as well. People who are very, very worried about the future of their retirement savings. So we're going to look at everything from town hall meetings, ensuring that we are tabling petitions, ensuring that we are tabling letters, ensuring that we put the heat on those UCP MLAs who are supporting this Alberta pension plan, because we will ask the questions Albertans need to consider when determining the future of their retirement. Now, importantly, including their opposition to their retirement. Now, this isn't the first time that we've had to step up and take this kind of action. When Jason Kenney first came for people's about the CPP, there was that conversation. At the same time as a conversation around teacher and other public sector worker pensions, we launched a consultation that got 60,000 signatures on a petition, and we took them directly to the Premier's office in the summer of 2020. Similarly, when Jason Nixon planned to sell off Alberta parks, we gathered the voices of Albertans and forced the UCP to stop that plan, at least for now. And when the UCP plotted to strip mine the Rocky Mountains, putting drinking water at risk for the people of Calgary and certainly the people of Lethbridge, my constituents, we led the consultation and a pushback to ensure protection of Alberta's pristine landscapes. And in conjunction with civil society, we were successful, at least for now. We also worked with Albertans to stand up against misguided attempts to rewrite the curriculum, cuts to programs for people with disabilities, and so much more. So Albertans know that they can trust that we will ensure that the UCP cannot ignore them. And if Albertans want to know where we stand on pensions, we've had a good faith conversation about this from the very beginning, including releasing our plan for Albertans' retirement security earlier this year. It's all there for Albertans in black and white, and it was there before the election. So we will not stop fighting to protect Albertans' retirement and economic security. Thank you, and I'll be now happy to take your questions.
Okay, we'll start with questions in person, then go to the line.
Hi. First question, I guess, with the results from the official opposition survey, how will those be used, and maybe what are you anticipating from those survey results?
Well, I think there's no question we will find a way to make sure that they are released, just as we have with all of our Alberta's Future projects over the years. We have done a number of public consultations. We did them on Zoom when we had to. We've done them in person. We've done town halls even more recently. We've released then policy papers as a result of that work. We spent the last 4 years in opposition doing that to make sure that Albertans knew where we stood, especially on economic issues. And I fully anticipate we'll be doing that with this as well.
Are there any concerns that perhaps both surveys will be or yield different results? Given I know there will be some people who are supportive with this plan to perhaps move forward with an Alberta pension plan, putting their thoughts into the Alberta government survey and maybe not filling out the opposition survey. So are there any concerns about potential different results from both surveys here?
Well, I have no doubt that there will be different results because the government survey doesn't ask people if they support leaving the CPP, and ours does. It's a very clear question because that's what's at stake here. It's extraordinary to me that the government doesn't even ask that basic question. Do you support leaving the CPP? But ours is designed to be that straightforward because we actually want to have an on-the-level conversation with Albertans.
Hi, Hannah from City News. One of the questions in the government survey asks Albertans about the funds in the Alberta pension plan, where they should be invested. Should they be invested in CPP's investment portfolio or possibly explore the private sector? What do you have to say about the exploring of the private sector?
What I have to say is all of these conversations are hypothetical at this point because Albertans do not want to leave the CPP. About 3/4 of Albertans do not want this. They barely skim 20% in any public domain polling of support for this so-called Alberta pension plan. Albertans do not want Danielle Smith to gamble with their retirement. So really all of the questions that flow after that are really hypothetical. Because what we're about to do today, what we're here to do today, is to make sure that Albertans have a way to communicate the fact that they want to stand up for their retirement security and they want to make sure that the CPP remains as it is.
The first announcement by the Alberta government about the Alberta pension plan did not outline any risks. And one of the risks that the public is questioning now is the investment if it would go to the oil and gas sector. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think Albertans are concerned about the future of their CPP because that is the one piece of their retirement security that they know that they can count on. And they know the CPP is there for them regardless if they choose to retire here in Alberta or elsewhere, regardless of where they have worked over their working lives in other provinces or in Alberta. That basic question of portability and predictability, those questions are answered with the CPP and they have been for 60 years. And that is why so many Albertans oppose leaving the CPP, and that is why the government is going to such extraordinary lengths to ask torqued questions, release a misleading report, and essentially try to make the case for something that Albertans fundamentally do not want.
Okay, we'll go to questions on the line. First question goes to Catherine Gurkowski.
You definitely don't want to ask what floor unicorn do you want, but I'm just hoping, can you tell me some of the questions you do intend to ask in this survey?
We're asking Albertans if they support leaving the CPP. And if yes, why? If no, why?
Any other questions, Catherine?
So you're kind of leaving it open-ended, I guess. And I guess, will this survey be CC'd to the relevant ministers? or is it just going to be up on that Alberta's Future website? Or
Ultimately, our conversation is with Albertans, and the point of this is to make sure that Albertans have a way to be heard, because this sham process that the government has constructed is not a way for Albertans to be heard. So the NDP opposition is making sure that Albertans are heard in a very clear way, in a way that doesn't allow for any ambiguity, and that we can then add to that public engagement over time, whether it's through town halls, through meetings with specific folks. I know a lot of seniors groups have already reached out to my office. Folks are very, very concerned about this. So there will be more than just a consultation, but we have to start with making sure that Albertans are heard in a really clear and concise way, in dramatic contrast to what the government has done.
Any other questions, Catherine? Any other questions in person?
Is the survey live now? Can we just access it, or is there a time for it to go active?
albertasfuture.ca is where things can be found.
Okay, and with no other questions, that's all for today.
Very good.